Okay, so I am Gbenga Ogunjimi. I am a story coach and I am a story consultant. I help thought leaders and businesses tell and monetize their stories. Over the last 3 months or so, I have the great honor and privilege to work with LEDC in Washington, D.C., Ward 7 and 8. And we were working with low-income neighborhoods and entrepreneurs to incorporate the power of their stories to power their business. It's a program called ProBees, and the program allows minority-owned businesses, small businesses to access consulting services. And LEDC, I think, was funded by JP Morgan, and we had some collaborations with amazing entrepreneurs in the Ward 7, Ward 8. In that engagement, it was very wonderful to see how these businesses were able to go from pain to purpose and use their personal narrative to turn their businesses around. Some of those businesses are social impact businesses, some of them are for-profit businesses, some of them are solo entrepreneurs like consultants. And if you operate in certain parts of the city, traditionally that community, you would have to overcome certain adversity to give yourself permission to be an entrepreneur. And the commonality with those groups is, in as much they have compelling, powerful stories, very few of those entrepreneurs actually incorporated their story in their business. So that kind of inspired this workshop today, that how can we open some of the transformations we saw there to all the entrepreneurs in the city. So we are very honored that you came. So a little bit about my story. Several years ago, I was kind of seeking a career path, and I was trying to find my voice. And I had started a nonprofit organization, and when I was in campus, and that nonprofit organization was pretty much, we didn't quite have a coherent strategy, so we just have young people, we have a lot of heart, passion to do good in the community, and we just did everything we know how to do best. But going into that work, in as much it was life-changing and transformational, I didn't quite resonate with the model of typical nonprofit work. The idea that I had to rely on another organization to fund my mission and my purpose, it didn't quite resonate. So what I did was I was seeking an alternative. And the alternative I saw which was available is to be a business owner and to be a for-profit entrepreneur. I had a little bit of a challenge with that because the idea of just seeking money and financially driven exclusively, that did not resonate with me either. So what I did was I took a me time and I went through some introspection. And in that period, I found a mentor. And I approached the mentor, I said, this is my story, I'm at a crossroads, I'm trying to seek a professional path, I'm finding my purpose. I do run a nonprofit organization, but the way I've seen about business, I didn't quite know if that is something that connects with me, just being financially driven exclusively. And then she said these words that changed my life. She said, Gbenga, if you want to help people and if you want to make money, you are a social entrepreneur. I never heard the word social entrepreneur ever prior to that conversation. For those who haven't, a social entrepreneur is someone who is in business, but they are driven to make a change. And the business is the vehicle that they do that. 6 months after that conversation, the corporation of Microsoft started to fund social entrepreneurship. And they had a program called Global Young Social Entrepreneurs Competition. It was a global business plan competition. And here I was in a small town village in Lagos, Nigeria, and my competition was big weight Wall Street all around the world. And I just found out the language and the title 6 months prior, what I was supposed to do with my life. Needless to say, it was a uphill competition, and the competition was quite stiff. So what happened was I gave myself permission, I put in the application, and I did win. And that winning took me around the world, and shortly after I came to the United States, and I started ever since then dedicate my life, my mission to really help leaders find their language to tell their story and define their brand identity. Because when I was telling my story as a nonprofit, the opportunities I got were nonprofit opportunities, was grand change-making advocacy, nothing wrong with that. I didn't quite have the language to articulate a higher purpose, which was the intersection intersection of business and change making. And this individual that was my coach stepped into my life, and she helped crystallize my professional identity. She gave me the language to tell my story. And using the right language to tell my story really, really changed everything for me professionally. I'm probably here with you because of that one conversation. Now that I have immersed myself in this business of storytelling, a few things I've heard over and over when I interact with clients, and this might be you. Everyone has a story to tell. That is right, but the first reaction is, I don't think my story is that interesting. Anyone want to listen to my story? If that is you, can I see a hand? Okay, one or two, three people. Okay, more hands will come. Okay, another thing I've heard is, I'm not sure I'm ready to tell my story. It's a very deep, private, seated stuff. I'm actually doing better, not even thinking about my story. If that is you, can I also see some hands? Okay. Well, my own issue is this, and this is the profile of my primary audience. They are multi-talented and conflicted at the same time. They have a ton of passion. They have different versions of their story and narrative. They don't even know which one to start with. And if you live in a city like Washington, D.C., it's a burden to even talk to people, because the very first question before they know what's your name, what the wonderful things that you do in the world, what do you do, can you tell me about, and you dread that conversation. Because of that, I don't even want to tell my story. If that is you, can I see hands? Okay, so you are at the right place today. So we're glad that you came. Okay, so what are we going to find out today? We're going to look at the power, the value of your story. We're going to look at the monetary value of the story. This idea of crafting a signature story. So the signature story is the solution for those who are multi-talented and conflicted. They have so many stories. So how do you get to that core signature story? I mean, we are going to look at some strategies to actually monetize your story. And when I mean monetize, I mean how do you expand the sphere of your income, the sphere of your influence, and the sphere of your impact using your story.